It's showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, trailblazers and trailblazerettes, or should I call you agents, gather around and prepare yourselves for tonight. We journey once more into the Design Gazette. It is I, your host, the Star Crusader, and this is the show where we invite new Eridu's most spectacular pop star. That is right, folks. Please welcome Astra Yao!
So you're not buying it. Then I guess I have no choice but to play my trump card now. Yeah, you're right. I am Astra Yao.
This is my first time looking at a Zenless Zone 0 character, so please take it easy on me. But as usual, before we dive into this diva's design, it is only customary that I as a YouTuber ask you to hit that big red subscribe button, give the video a like, a share, and maybe even a down in the comment section below. And with all that out of the way, let's jam.
How about a song?
Let's build up from the ground by asking the simple questions. Who is Astra Yao? Well, Astra Yao is widely regarded as New Eridu's most iconic singer. With her heavenly voice, stage presence, and songwriting talent, she's basically the leading lady of all the trends in this world. I mean, everywhere you walk in Eridu, you'll find posters, message boards, and merchandise dedicated to Astra Yao. If you think about it, it's actually wild how much power idol culture and pop stars hold, right? They're not just making music, they're literally shaping entire societies. Take K-pop for example. Would Korean culture have exploded onto the global stage the way it has without groups like BTS or Blackpink paving the way? Probably not, right? These artists aren't just performers, they're cultural ambassadors. Similarly, you can think back to how Madonna completely redefined 80s and 90s fashion. Her influence didn't just stop at the charts, it filtered into how people dressed, how they expressed themselves, and how they saw the world. When idols build their brand, they're not just promoting themselves, they're exporting pieces of their culture. And that's what makes their impact so massive. Fans don't just listen to the music, they buy into the lifestyle. They'll show up for concerts, rock the merch, and even start picking up trends, slang, or hobbies tied to their favorite artist. It's not just fandom, it's devotion. And the ripple effect is huge. It fuels entire industries, fashion, tech, tourism, you name it. Think of how many people travel to South Korea to experience the culture they saw in a music video, or how tech companies partner with rock stars to push products. It's an economic boost on a whole other level, and maybe that's why we call them stars. They don't just shine in the spotlight, they guide the cultural zeitgeist, lighting the way for entire generations. And the star analogy is spot on when it comes to Astra Yao.
Lovely, isn't it?
Her name says it all, Astra, coming from the Latin word astrum meaning star, which is usually used as a symbol of hope and direction, capturing her role as a guiding force and a beacon of inspiration for her fans. Yao, on the other hand, is a Chinese word that means something precious like jade, symbolizing beauty and value, aligning with how much she's cherished as a cultural icon. Depending on how it's written, it can also mean brightness or something distant, just like a star in space. Together, Astra Yao isn't just a name, it's a statement. It encapsulates her nature as a radiant superstar, admired from afar, but also a treasure who holds a lot of cultural and emotional value. All in all, it's pretty emblematic of New Eridu's most famous superstar. As a side note, her fans call themselves astronauts, which is pretty fitting for a fan base that is following a star, as that's basically the job description of an actual astronaut. But if the name wasn't apparent enough, HoYoverse did everything in their power to make sure you didn't miss it through a visual design. You will find plenty of stars in a marketing material, UI, combat animations, clothing. Hell, even her glasses have little stars on them. They really leaned into the imagery with that. But I think we've rambled on long enough about the stars, and now it's high time we discuss the other aspects of a design.
Let's switch things up.
It's a running theme in Zenless Zone 0 to take something retro or vintage and give it an urban and futuristic twist to match the game's aesthetic. And a similar principle can be applied to Astra Yao's design, which is inspired by the golden age of Hollywood. This is an era which ran from the 1920s to the early 1960s, marked as the peak age when the American film industry experienced a creative and commercial peak. Each production studio relied heavily on a Hollywood star to drive box office sales. Many consider the golden era of Hollywood to be the most influential era in society because a lot of moviegoers were inspired by the styles and fashion worn both on and off screen, with icons like Grace Kelly, Marilyn Monroe, and Elizabeth Taylor. Even today, their timeless, elegant looks inspire designers worldwide, including the devs over at HoYoverse. Astra's base design seems to be inspired by Grace Kelly's off-the-shoulder white dress in the movie To Catch a Thief. Like Kelly's character, the dress is very simple and elegant. However, it's definitely not as short as Astra Yao's dress. The bottom part of the outfit seems to be inspired by another more iconic white dress that comes to mind when thinking of the golden age of Hollywood. Marilyn Monroe's iconic floating dress is one of the most famous pieces of fashion in film history. It was worn in the 1955 movie The 7-Year Itch during a famous scene where Monroe stands over a subway grate and the wind dramatically lifts her skirt, a moment that's forever etched in cinema history. Actually, now that I think about it, there's a lot of Marilyn Monroe inspiration in Astra's design. Of course, we've proven that with the fashion, but there's also other things that make the two very similar. First of all, there's the fact that both of them aren't just actresses, but they're also famous singers, as well as both of them having personalities that were rather innocent or ditzy. Not to mention they both have beauty marks on their faces, though Astra's are a bit more exaggerated. But that exaggeration can also apply to her outfit. Zenless Zone Zero remixes the outfit by adding bold red sleeves, sharpening the classy silhouette, and giving it an overall more badass vibe. The jacket still keeps its frills and lantern sleeves for a touch of femininity, but the hot rod red and the form-fitting material screams classic 70s rock. Think those iconic red leather jackets. And it's no coincidence the outfit is called Scarlet Rock. It adds a striking contrast to the rest of her look, while giving her a modern edge to her otherwise timeless beauty. Speaking of timeless, we round off the outfit with an equally classy accessory: pearls. Pearls were a staple of Hollywood's golden age, symbolizing elegance and sophistication, and as you may have guessed, were worn by ladies such as Monroe and Kelly. It's a fact that over time jewelry has become more minimal and subtle, but Astra's choice to wear pearls was probably the biggest hint of her design inspirations. See, pearls have this vintage allure to them, a touch of old Hollywood glamour, and something that instantly takes you back to a more refined, nostalgic era. As a side note, her purchasable chandelier outfit ditches the scarlet jacket for full-on monochrome sleeves. This version leans even more into her feminine side, adding bows and even more pearls to her main outfit. The combination of these delicate touches with the black and white aesthetic makes it feel like Astra just stepped right out of a golden age Hollywood production, keeping that classic vintage theme alive. But it's not just her outfit that has that vintage flair, her weapon does too.
Alright, I'll take the mic.
In-universe, it's a one-of-a-kind, handcrafted performance instrument made by a master artisan. Out-of-universe? It's a microphone. But not just any mic, a classic suspension microphone from the 1930s and 40s, the kind that came before the sleeker designs we use today. These shock-mounted mics were a staple of radio, early film and live broadcasting, since old recording tech was super sensitive to vibrations. Fun little detail, Astra wears a microphone pendant with a name on it, and it looks a lot like the way radio stations used to bolt their channel names onto those vintage mics. Her specific microphone is called Hemiola, which neatly brings us back full circle to the topic of music. Most of Astra's abilities are named after musical terms like cadenza, lira, capriccio, interlude, and sonata. Fitting since she's a massive pop star. Even her combat style revolves around buffing and uplifting a team through the power of voice, which in actuality perfectly reflects her whole philosophy as a character. See, life can be tough, and at times it feels unbearable, but then you hear a song that reminds you that someone else has been through it too. That connection, that shared experience of solitude can connect you with a whole world of people who once felt the same. For the people of Eridu, Astra Yao is a symbol of a generation that lives in a world of hollows. She embodies resilience, creativity, and the power of community. In this messed up world, she stands as a beacon of hope, without a doubt proving that only in the darkest of nights do stars shine the brightest. That is a wrap on episode 18 of the Design Gazette. If you enjoyed our time together, be sure to help me out by liking, sharing, and commenting down below on some of your favorite things about Astra Yao. Links in the description if you want to buy me a coffee, and if you're new around here, hi, I'm the Starward Crusader, and I have a whole series of Design Gazettes and story recaps waiting for you to enjoy by hitting that big red button. Again, I hope you all liked our first dive into Zenless Zone Zero. I've actually been meaning to do a Design Gazette for this game for ages, but honestly, most of the designs didn't really grab me. Lighter was pretty close, but I think he came out at a very hectic time, so I skipped him. Hell, I was even gonna skip over Astra until I saw her butler. And whoo boy. Evelyn, wow. A mix of Jean and Kafka? Say less. Take my money. ZZZ, you got me. I'm done. I have to play this game now. I gotta make design gazettes, I gotta make story recaps. I am officially become and have locked into this Gooner ass game. Composure. Anyway, this was the first design gazette for Zenless, and there will be plenty more in the future. The goal is to make this a regular thing and cover a wide variety of characters, so stay tuned. And with all that said, may your journey lead you ever starward.